Okay, so you want a Blender ZBrush Applink. Thankfully there is one. Otherwise this video would not exist as I'm too lazy to create my own plugins. Um, Now, something I have to get started. This is just the basic scene, of course. If this add-on does not work for you, if you've slightly gone out of step with what I'm doing, then please restart your applications and start ZBrush first. Make sure you have a polymesh 3D object and that you're in edit mode. Otherwise, it will crash either ZBrush or Blender or both. I should have just said and or. So, getting that out of the way, the ZBrush Blender Applink allows you to both transfer UVs, meshes, and it allows you to transfer texture data if you're in the regular Blender renderer. I have not tried it in cycles because I usually texture everything in Substance using a different add-on known as the Hedgehog add-on. I'll put a link in the description to this down below, I guess. I'm not used to this whole making videos thing. So, to get this done, it's fairly simple. I'll put a link to this in the description as well. Just go to the Wikipedia page for the import-export GoB ZBrush. You'll go to links, and this is a direct attachment from, I apologize for that, from the ZBrush Central thread. I can confirm this is all safe stuff. So if you click on this, it'll start downloading it. If you go to show in folder, or just the downloads folder, you'll see that you have just downloaded GoZ 2.72. This still works with ZBrush 4R7 and, from what I've heard, 4R8, though I haven't gotten 4R8 personally working. And it works with Blender 2.79 and 2.8, as far as I can tell with the current development of 2.8. So now you'll be confronted by sorry, that's for later. You'll be confronted by 3 files. The Blender folder, GoB 2.72, and a README. So just take the Python script to the desktop. You're going to now go to Blender, File, User Preferences, Install from File, go down to Desktop 2.72, Install from Add-on, Import, Export, Save Settings. So now 2 things will pop up. It'll be a blue icon and a pinch brush icon. We'll get back to that. So now I can exit. So now I want to take this folder and I need to put it in a GoB apps or GOZ apps folder. Thankfully I've already brought it up, but to get to this PC, local disk, users, public, Pixelogic, GOZ apps. We'll wait for a moment. So now that you've got that up, you're going to take the Blender folder and you're just going to straight up drag it into there. Now that you've got that, you can exit out of both of these, start up ZBrush, if it would like to. There we go. Now, I have a default scene with already 3 objects as polymesh 3D. You can look up how to do that. It's fairly simple. You go up here to Preferences, GoZ, Path to Blender. It'll search for Blender applications. After waiting a few moments, it won't find anything, wasting your time. If you wait just a couple moments more, I apologize. There we go. So it says no version of Blender found. So now it needs to go to Browse, Local Disk C, Program Files, Blender Foundation, Blender, Blender.exe, and Open. So now that's all. That's the whole Applink up and running. Now there are a few quirks with this I just kind of have to say. One of which is that Zbrush doesn't like me. Let me just quickly exit out of that. It's now opening up Zbrush once again. And then going to, well, apologies. I'm now going to open up Blender once again. And of course, everything takes forever to load. So now the whole GOZ Applink should be done. Now these two buttons are auto import and export selected objects. If you hold, I read that if you hold shift and you click on the blue icon, it will import only once, though I personally prefer to use the auto import. So now if we go over to Zbrush and we export all subtools, if you have a new object, please go up here and click Make Polymesh 3D. Otherwise, it will once again crash Zbrush or Blender. So now I'm going to make sure that Blender is selected as my GOZ application by pressing R. Then I'm going to just click GOZ. Jumping over to Blender, nothing really looks different. But if I select the cube, delete it, boom, there's our object. Now if I was to select this, and I was to grab and rotate, and then having it selected, click that, the mesh has updated on the Blender side. Now if I was to do multiple subdivisions and then put some name on something, noting that I have no UVs, no texture maps, all the GOZ application will do is lower it down to the lowest subdivision, then export it to the program. One thing to note is that if you had any sort of modifiers on your object, like let's say mirror, I was to take all of this, mirror it like that, when you attempt to send it back over to Zbrush, it won't work because the modifier hasn't been applied and it's not true geometry. So if I was to apply it, once again send it back over, the topology of the mesh has changed. If I was to reapply the high resolution details, the high resolution details will be reapplied. This is kind of hit and miss, as I've had it so that one side of mirrored object had high resolution details and the other did not. just the nature of the beast, I guess. But as I said before, if I was to go into Blender, select all, UV, Smart UV project, OK, wait a few moments. I believe that did it. If I open up the UV image editor, yes. Now if I was to send this back over, everything looks the same. And if I was to go to Z plugin UV master, and if I was to work on a clone and if I can remember how to think, if I can click flatten, you can see that all the UVs were transferred. All right. Thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.